Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can't quite hear it, but it's a bit of a windy bit outside with some rain. And yeah, the week's almost over. It's Friday morning. In fact, I wasn't going to do this, and you can tell by my hair. Yeah, that's that wind I was talking about. Here's the deal. You see me, you know who I am, and you know what this is. You know the time and you know the place. For the uninitiated, this is the other side of ropes. I'm your humble host. I am Red, aka Black Magic, or Shaka. And I wasn't going to do this because I was trying to avoid a part 4 about the whole backyard versus indie thing. Then made me go back to thinking something I was talking about a couple of years ago. It's real easy to put out a visible target. It's easy for us because we're an established subculture, so to speak. And this other institution, this other animal, was a result of us. I said it. You can deny it, you can disavow it, and discredit all you want. But it's the truth. The thing here is, and I've said this before too, we in the wrestling community have dropped the ball. Whether we realize it or not, whether we want to admit to it or not. You can call it a downside of a cycle. You can call it what you like. Fact of the matter is, we spend entirely too much time pointing too many fingers at other people. We basically have turned amongst ourselves. Folks, look, we dropped the ball, okay? Somewhere down the line, we dropped the ball. The vets dropped the ball. Doesn't matter which generation, somebody dropped the ball somewhere. You turn around and ask how or why. Look, you want to try, we've tried this whole thing of going back to about wrestling as it was 20 or 30 years ago. And I already said this, you can't do it. Throwback's not the answer. Now, I've done this for 13 years of my life. That's pretty much a lifetime. I broke in at 26. I've done the throwback thing. It doesn't work. You know why? We're trying to force what we saw growing up down the throats of the next generation. It's not going to work. You know why? Simply this. The mentalities that existed 25 to 30 years ago are not the same as they are now in the 21st century. These guys that we were watching, engineered for television. Now, I'm going to put it like this. Anybody that knows me, go in the locker room, I don't do what I do in the ring to pop the boys. If some people have a hard time figuring what that means, don't worry about it. It wasn't for your ears. But the ones that do know what I'm talking about, they know what I'm saying. I don't do what I do to pop the boys. What that means is simply this. I'm not looking for approval. I've never, ever, ever looked for approval. My thing is this. The proof's in the pudding. If I do what I do and it gets a reaction, guess what I'm looking for? The people I need to worry about are the people who paid the money to come and watch the show, come to watch the matches. And if nobody's walking out during my match or asking for a refund, I'm doing my job. If the promoter's not looking for me to chew me a new asshole, I said it, then I know I've done my job. Now, if anybody else wants to jump on my case about it, and it's happened, that's your problem. Now, let's take this another route. And I've said this when I was still writing my column. Because of what's going on in mixed martial arts, okay, people, and I'm talking about my fellow wrestlers, as it were, we need to get our heads out of our collective asses. At the end of one of my columns a few years ago, and I'll quote this, not a paraphrase, I'll quote this, y'all need to learn to start either working from your backs or working from the side. You know the lateral press. Side control, yeah. There's so much more you can do with that from just a pin. Now, I said MMA, I said it for a reason. They're the ones getting the money. Now, what's wrong with this picture? Because what you've seen with the super fights back in 1993 is not what's going on in the cage now in 2012. Because the game evolved. What happened to us? We didn't evolve. And I hate to say it, in the average wrestling school, you know what you're going to see? Push-ups, Hindu squats, run the ropes. What kind of drills? I'm not going to get into that. But I can tell you it has fuck all to do with actual technique. And you heard me say that. Fuck all to do. I didn't stutter. And I'm saying this over a cup of hot ginger tea. Like I said, what's wrong with this picture, guys? You want to stay complacent? That's on you. But if you want to be taken seriously with this thing, listen. You want to talk about titles, heavyweight titles? Fine. But here's the thing. Ask me this. Does it make sense to give somebody who's probably roughly like 170, maybe even 120 pounds a heavyweight title? No. Because you know why? You just discredited that title. Because you pretty much disregarded the whole notion of a weight class. Now, if you look up any other combat sport, boxing, even MMA, kickboxing, doesn't matter. Even wrestling on, say, the scholastic or the amateur or Olympic level, weight classes are enforced, they are adhered to. Now me, I went through the trouble of dropping down to 192 pounds. Technically speaking, that would be cruiserweight in boxing or light heavyweight. It changes. Now when I broke in, I was 165 pounds. That's, if I'm not mistaken, welterweight. I've worked from welterweight to middleweight to light heavyweight to heavyweight. So we got different weight classes here. You want to be taken seriously? Start enforcing weight classes. If not, you're going to have to rescript something. Because you got a guy that's about 5'5" and about 120 pounds soaking wet with a brick in his pocket. No offense to the guy, but if you're going to give him a heavyweight title, you might as well change the daggone weight class. Either you're going to say it's bantamweight or flyweight, or it's an open weight title now. That's just one example. Bottom line, you have a whole bunch of things going on here. Big problems usually always start off small is what I'm saying. We had a whole bunch of small things roll into a big thing. You ever hear the snowball effect? or they say in the military, shit rolls downhill. Something along those lines. You want to be taken seriously? Then you need to take this more seriously as a sport. You want to look at it as a doggone illusion? Fine. That whole thing I was talking about a few months ago, or about a few weeks or a month ago, that whole debate. Anytime you got the guys you're actually targeting calling you on your own shit, and you don't have a decent rebuttal to come back with, even if they may have been in the wrong, okay. Now you got both sets of people, both sides, looking like smacked asses. You're going to have to do something about it. I've been talking about it for the last 3 or 4 years. You want to be complacent? Fine. Me? If anybody asks me what have I been doing, speaks for itself. Like I said, back when the arena was still the arena, last time I checked, now I know I'm not going to see a jersey with my name hanging up in the rafters in South Philly, but fact of the matter is, I'm the only professional wrestler, India otherwise, to get in that freaking cage, and we ain't talking cage of death, in the daggone hexagon or octagon, whatever the hell it was, get my ass in there with the daggone with the shin pads and 7-ounce gloves and duked it out. Win, lose, or draw. I didn't tap. I ain't getting knocked out. And I did my thing. For better or for worse. But I made a point. You want to call me on it? I got the footage. I got ringside footage. And it's online. I told you. Go to Go Fight Live. Look up my real name and you'll find it. If you still can't find it, look up my opponent's name. Scott Strasky. He still can't believe he won it his day. Go ahead. Call me on it. And I'll tell you, you ain't never do any of the training I had to go through for the last 2 weeks of that whole mess. But if you want to reenact it, go right on ahead. Now, as far as that whole thing, it opened my eyes up to what we need to do as a subculture and make this a sport again. Now, if y'all want to go ahead and let it go down, down, down and bitch about it, ain't enough round tables in the world. You can talk about it or do something about it. And I've been trying to do something about it. I'm still do something about it. And I'm 40 years old. Now, I guarantee you, half of these young guys, you get in there and try and train with me, it ain't about bodybuilding, man. We ain't talking aesthetics. We talking conditioning. We ain't talking just Hindu squats. Come in and do a half hour with me, and if you still standing, good. We going to take it to the next level. If not, then y'all need to go on home. Or like it says for the gym I go to, go hard or go home. And I ain't just talking, because even the guys my age or somewhere around that line see what I do, they can't even step to that. We talking grown men. Go ahead. Now I'm going to get done on this rant, and I'm going to finish my tea, and I'm going to chill out and get some rest, because Friday's coming up. I got another day to go ahead and go to work, and then I got to go ahead and chill because I got somebody to kill in about a day and a half from now up in Tamaqua. There it is. I'm actually going to bypass. No, you know what? Screw it. My people here in the States, you know who you are. Johnny Logan, Mr. Graves, Sick Nick, Miss Holly, Mr. Gibbs, Mr. Bobby, Ghetto, Blade, Scotty, Atlas, my people in the East Coast, people in Tamaqua, Jersey for Power Pro Wrestling over in Delaware, my MCW alumnus or alumni, whatever you want to call it, my people over in Europe, the PTW crew, my people over in Belgium, my people over in Holland, the people over in Deutschland. What do you know, Deutschland v. Gates? Screw it. Robin, Lori, Tommy, Gangrene, Wendy, Rob Raw, Petey, Tommy, Milkshake, Ginger Snap, Vicky, Craig Gunner, Rick the Voice Valentine, Andres Babich, Craig BC, Moni, the two Susies, Sandra, Kathy, Maddie, Jazzy, Mina, Yenny, Starbuck, and all the rest of you crazy cast of characters I missed. The singing dad's going into dad. And on the rest of that note, incense. Yeah, it's a nice little medley, isn't it? Like I said, I know I got more than 15 minutes, but I ain't taking a chance. Creature of habit, bear with me. Rest of y'all, I will see you next week. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this coming Sunday, we have another fun-filled episode of Top Rope Radio with myself and Johnny White Trash Logan. And I might even stick another Columbine in or another stream of conscience. Who knows? Stay tuned. This is Red. This is the other side of ropes. And it's been real. I'm out. Peace.